Right, it's FaceTime Fighters. We're back. It's myself, Aaron the Marksman Morgan. Today, I've got another very esteemed guest on, a stalwart of amateur boxing, now a professional boxing coach, one of the unsung heroes in the game. I'm going to let you introduce yourself to the people that don't know who you are. Take the floor.
Hello. Hi, Aaron. You all right, mate? I'm Adam Martin. That's it.
always humble. Very good coach on the amateurs, very good coach in the professional game. Been in the game a very long time. He's being very humble at the moment, and he doesn't get his flowers as a terrific coach in UK boxing. But I'm happy to have you on today, Adam. Um, First things first, why coaching? What made you become a coach?
I think really, when I finished boxing, I weren't sure what to do with myself, really. If I'm honest, I was a bit down in the dumps about everything. And yeah, just fell into coaching. Started coaching first at Foley Amateur Boxing Club. Coached there for a few years. Then got offered something at Fitzroy Lodge with work. So I went up there and started coaching at Fitzroy Lodge as well.
Yeah, you boxed with me, sorry.
I,
Back in the day.
yeah, so I started off at the Foley Amateur Boxing Club, then
Yep.
went to Fitzroy Lodge, then went back to the Foley at the end.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I 100% like empathize what you're saying about falling into sort of being down in the dumps. I know for myself personally, once I finished boxing, I was sort of like my whole identity was tied so much to boxing.
yeah. You
Afterwards,
know
it's
what? You
like,
know what, Aaron? Everyone thinks it's just the professionals, but I mean, like the amateur boxing, that was my life. Everything I'd done.
yeah,
I started quite late, like after I left school and stuff. But it was like every day, all I'd done was box.
yeah,
It was my life. So when it finishes, you're like fucking hell.
yeah. You're like, what now? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I was a postman, which is nothing wrong with being a postman, but basically just because the hours suited my boxing, I used to finish work at the post, go straight up Fitzroy Lodge,
yeah,
because Fitzroy Lodge was open all day. So I used to go up there, train during the day, going, it was just, everything was for boxing, really.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, since you've been coaching, do you still remember the very first corner that you worked?
God, bloody hell. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah, I do
Yeah.
that. Oh, I remember my first, it weren't my first corner, but I remember my first champion. It was little Charlie Eastwood. He won the minors.
Okay. Yeah.
He was my first, like, little champion kid.
Yeah.
But if I'm honest with you, I don't. No one else wanted to do his corner because they was all scared of his dad. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah, but I don't
Um,
remember the first one. No.
what about Adam? What, in your opinion, what separates a good coach from a bad coach?
You know what? It's just like Mick Carney always told me from the start that your availability, your reliability is important. It's up there with your ability,
Yeah.
and it so much is. I mean, I was coaching, so when I started coaching pros, which sort of happened by accident, really, I was like doing it around my work,
Yeah.
and it was so hard. And actually, a conversation with Sid Khan, who's the coach at Earlsfield.
Yeah.
He said, "Yeah, you're playing at it, mate." He said, "Like you're playing it. If you're going to do it properly, or don't do
Yeah.
it at all." And that's what I've tried to do. I've gone full time, and that's what I'm trying to do. But I wouldn't say they're like the bad coach and the good coaches. It's just you just got to realise that boxing ain't really rocket science, but there's certain things you got to tell people at the right times and stuff like that. It just comes with experience. A lot of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it. I get. I mean, I'm going to start sounding bitter, but I always try not to be. But I've had people come in this gym, Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I swear, walk in off the street and say, "Oh, I've done a masterclass at Camden Boxing Centre.
Yep.
I've gone for my pro license, but they've told me I need to get more experience.
Yep.
Can I do something here?" And I'm like, "Oh, so what amateur club have you been at then?" No, they look at you like blank. Like, mate, go and find an amateur boxing club, go and
Yep.
volunteer, work with some kids, work with some seniors, get some experience, then come back. It's like no one's earning the right,
No.
like no one's doing like an apprenticeship or nothing, are they?
No. They just want to jump in.
Yeah, and everyone will say, "Oh, they haven't boxed," but it's not even so much that.
Yep.
Like you can be a good coach. We know you can be a good coach and not a box, but you got to be around it.
Yeah.
You've got to,
You got. Yeah. You got to be around it because I think before I used to believe, no, you have to box to be able to coach because you need to
Yeah,
understand what they're going through. But I don't, now that I'm older, I don't really think that's the case. I feel like as long as you're around it and you're soaking things up and you're learning, then you can be a coach. For example, my eldest son, he's been around it from young. He's not boxed, but
yeah,
he's helped me. I help him. He helps me out with the kids sessions. He's working with the
yeah,
little
yeah,
kids. So by the time he's going on 12 now, by the time he's 18, 20, that would have been a lot of years in the
yeah,
sport,
definitely. Yeah,
soaking things up. I can't then turn around and say, no, you can't coach people because you've never done it yourself. You've never
yeah.
boxed. So
Mhm.
I'm sort of back and forth on that one.
Yeah, well, sometimes you find that people with box sometimes want to coach that style that they box, which ain't, you can't do
No,
everything for the same person. You know what I mean? But when you get someone who hasn't boxed, sometimes they've got a black canvas. They see blank canvas, see everything a little bit differently sometimes. Do you know what I mean? So I've seen people who've not boxed good coaches, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. Piggybacking off that point, what do you feel is some mistakes that young or new coaches tend to make?
Well, I think like it's just who you've been around and stuff like that. They just don't know. You see all these pad videos. I see it all the time.
Yeah,
Every day I see these mad pads and stuff like that. And I get it. If a kid's trying to sell tickets and they need to look good, I mean, I've
yeah,
done it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
boxing, I always thought that pads for me were for fault prevention.
yeah,
And they're not for. I know you can use them for fitness, and I do one-to-ones and do loads of punches. You know what I mean? But they're for fault prevention. You should be working on something,
yeah,
getting a shot right, getting a defence right. Like, mate, if your elbow's coming out there, put your elbow in. Like, it sounds like basic stuff.
yeah. That's
But
it.
pros make the same mistakes as amateurs do. Everyone needs to go over basics.
100%.
Everyone loses their way with stuff. Do you know what I mean?
100%. Ever been a moment that made you want to walk away from it all?
No, not really, not at all. No, thank God.
No, always been in love with it. Always stayed consistent.
Yeah, you get pissed off, mate. You just no, I'm happy. Like I take on boys that I know a lot of coaches wouldn't take on,
Yeah,
and what I realise is that if you've got a kid on ticket deals and stuff like that, not getting them up to Southern area level, English title level, it's such a big task. People don't realise how hard it is.
yeah.
For the
No, it's
boxer,
hard.
for the coach, they got to go through so much shit, boxing for no money, keep training, and to get to that level, like it's so. And thankfully I've had a few boys, a couple of English titles, a few Southern air. Do you know what I mean? A few boys do it,
Yeah,
and it's worth it. The rewards. I'm not talking about financially either, but how
yeah,
you feel. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Changes.
Definitely, definite, definite. Adam, give me one fighter. It could be past or present that you would have loved to work with.
Oh,
Any fighter in history you would have loved to work their corner.
well, you know what? I love Arturo Gatti, and I know when people say technically he might not be the best, but I loved all the story about him. I loved everything about him. Like
Yeah.
his attitude.
Oh mate, could you imagine being in the corner for the Gatti Ward?
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that.
Oh mate.
I tell you, one day I was in Fitzroy Lodge, and
Yeah.
I remember Gatti used to do this thing where he used to bring his feet together like that, and I remember doing it, and Mick kind of went, "What are you doing?" And I went, "Oh, Gatti does it, Mick." He went, "You ain't Gatti, are you? Pick your feet apart."
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Gatti.
um Speaking back on the gym, yeah, we've all been around the gym for a long time. We've heard a lot of stuff in the gym. What's the biggest lies we hear inside the boxing gym?
Well, it's normally about the weight, isn't it? Like, lie about it. Yeah.
That was me, definitely.
I've had a big dinner. I had this yesterday. I had that yesterday. I don't give a fuck what you had yesterday. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, but there's a lot of porkies told in gyms, isn't there?
Yeah.
A lot of porkies
Yeah.
told about sparring. Oh, I sometimes hear stuff about sparring. I think, really? You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I done this to him, I done that to him.
Yeah,
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 yeah. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Adam, have you got any kids?
Children?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I've got two
Do,
daughters, two stepdaughters, and a young son.
Any of your kids box?
So none of the girls have boxed, thank God, and Rocco's into his football. I had
Yeah,
this conversation with someone the other day. We all love boxing and all that, but none of us really want our kids to box. And,
because I was about to
yeah,
ask you, would you want your kids to go down the boxing,
you
down
know,
the box?
I want him to learn it so he can look after himself a little bit, but
Yeah,
that's for
but
him.
to do it as a career, it's hard. It's
Yeah, and I
hard.
always thought, especially I didn't box as a junior, but I mean, I've seen juniors like in bin bags and fucking waiting,
Yeah,
and,
crazy.
and like it's almost like in child abuse. Some of it, do you know what I mean? I know it might be going over the top,
Yeah,
but
no, it's crazy. It's crazy.
it's a weight controlled sport. Um,
100%.
for the kids, it is a little bit.
And you think, and sometimes when you get these red hot juniors that are flying, by the time they get to seniors, a lot of them are burnt out.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I
Some of
know
them,
loads. Yeah, I
yeah,
know loads.
they're burnt out by the time they get to seniors.
Yeah,
They ain't got it anymore mentally to switch on, and physically,
yeah,
they've been putting their body through let's call it what it is, putting their body through torture for years, and they just ain't got it no more.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um,
Loads of kids I knew who were good when I was growing up, and hardly any of them even made it to senior, really.
yeah, no, it happens. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Happens a lot.
But I think because I'm moaning, I'm still some of the top pro coaches, so-called pro coaches. Someone told me a long time ago that there's a lot of good coaches out there that you don't hear about who don't make a penny, and there's a lot of shit coaches out there who are making a fortune, which I
Yeah,
mean, it sounds bitter, but I know for a fact, I can guarantee you that the top amateur coaches are better, I think, than the top pro coaches. I know everyone says it's a
oh,
different sport, but like
100%, hundred
but
percent.
a lot of them are going now. You know, like the Mick Carneys, Tony Burns, Stevie Iser,
Mate,
Mickey May over West
for,
Ham.
for my own one, I've got to throw in. You got to throw in Jerry Mitchell. You
Yeah,
get
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
give Jerry Mitchell, uh, a top talent. Jerry Mitchell's
yeah,
going to take him. He's going to take him far. All them guys
yeah.
will take them far. So
Yeah, and I always say, like, my boy, if he did want to box, if I wanted someone to show him how to throw, obviously I would, but if I wanted someone to teach him how to throw a jab properly, move his feet properly, I'd take him to one of the good amateur. These pro ones, it's sort of, they don't know that. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
If you're getting given Olympian boxers, Aaron, and all that all the time, do you know what I mean? You're halfway there. I know it's not
yeah,
guaranteed, but
yeah. It's not guaranteed, but
no.
you're starting a lot further ahead
Yeah,
than
yeah, yeah,
taking someone from the street, so they say.
yeah, yeah.
But Adam, what's have you got one corner moment that you'll never forget? It could be from yourself when you was boxing, as an amateur coach, professional coach. There must be one moment in the corner that will stick in your mind forever.
I was listening to the ones you done the other day, and it was made me laugh because, like, funny ones. I remember because Mick Carney didn't do at Fitzroy Lodge. You used to get different people doing your corner. You know, you
Yeah,
box for London, you always had different people. But I had Mick do my corner once, and it was a big thing to have Mick do my corner anyway.
yeah,
And then at the end of the first round, I wasn't boxing very well. I was boxing Milton Clark. He had loads of it. He boxed for the Lynn. He had loads of fights, but I was boxing terrible. But I
yeah,
come back in the first round. I was waiting for him to bollock me, and he went, "Adam, how long does it take you to get the gym from Kingston?" Like that.
yeah,
I looked at it like that, and I went, "I don't know. It's just weird." I looked at it like that. I went, "About an hour, Mick, on the train." Like that. He went, "Ah." He went, "Go out and box like that again, and don't bother." Like that. I was like, "Whoa." Yeah, that was that one. And then I had Billy Webster, who's another like famous coach, brilliant coach, Bill. I was in Germany. I got put on my arse in the first round.
yeah,
Come back, I was sat on the thing. He didn't say nothing. Squirted a bit of water, wiped my face, and then he went, "He don't it, does he, babes?" Like that. And then he just climbed out the ring. I was
yeah,
like, it's just like old school, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but they're brilliant. When you look back, they're brilliant. Like,
Good memories, good memories.
yeah.
Adam, before we wrap it up, I want to ask you, what advice would you give to aspiring boxers that are actually looking for a coach? What should they be looking for?
Yeah, more around the business. They need to be, and I know you've touched on this with the tickets and all that. They really need. I feel like you tell them till you're blue in the face, and they don't.
Yeah.
It's almost like they got to experience it. They don't understand this.
So you would advise the boxers to make sure that if they're turning pro, the coach that they go with knows about the business of boxing.
Yeah, like even like coaches know that, don't they? But the boxers got to realise that it's part of their job. Their
Yeah,
fan base and that's part of their job. You take it on,
yeah,
you want to do it. That's part of the thing. I
yeah,
was told years ago that if you can't sell 100 tickets, because if you think you can sell 100, you're going to do less as it goes on. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, yeah, 100%.
100's like a minimum you've got to be able to do. But I just think find a coach you can trust that you get on with. I mean, I've never fell out with a boxer. Any of my boxers, I've had a couple leave
Yeah,
because, but that's fine, isn't it? That's fine because you don't always gel together. Something, I mean, that's fine. But I think this day and age, you just got to be honest. Talk. People don't talk, mate. It's all text, isn't it? You know,
yeah, yeah.
like
How do
people.
you balance sort of like looking after the fighter, protecting the fighter's ego, but also being very honest with them about where they're at and where they need to improve?
Yeah, I think you got to start off being realistic. You know, like
Yeah,
we look towards Southern Area title, and from there on, do you know what I mean? Don't.
yeah. Anything above that is
Yeah,
our
don't start getting all soppy about British titles and all that because
yeah,
it might not happen. But it's harder and harder to get signed by these big promoters now. And even if you do, they got so many fighters. Like look how many fighters Frank Warren signed. Like they've signed loads, haven't they?
yeah. It's hard. It's such
Yeah,
a hard way to make a living. That's
yeah,
yeah. Anyone starting off now, I mean, the benefit now that they've got is we've got things like social media, and that's
yeah,
why I've been making these videos to try and help these fighters to say you need to use it. It's a tool.
yeah,
You have to use it. You have to bang the drum because nobody's gonna come. I think them days of getting signed straight off the bat for doing well in the ABAs, for example,
yeah,
them days are long gone.
yeah. And I think what was I gonna say, telling boxers the truth. You know what I mean? It's just better. You don't want no one turning around off he's going fucking hell and all that. Just
Yeah, no.
honesty
Always
from the
better.
start.
Yeah, always better to just be honest from the start. Lay the cards on the table.
One thing I would say as well, like sometimes signing with a major promoter, one of the big promoters, ain't the best thing early. I've had lads for like it's you're not in charge so much of your journey as in matching.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You're forcing the harder fights early, really.
yeah, definitely,
Sometimes,
definitely.
yeah, if you can do tickets and you can get the 10-0, then go. It can be a bit better for your learning, your progression. You know?
Yep, 100%. Adam, it's been a pleasure having you on. Before you give some real insightful answers, I think the people are going to love to hear what you say. Definitely stay in contact, my friend,
Yeah, and you, Aaron.
and
Nice to hear, mate.
I'll pop down to the gym and see you soon.
Yeah, you look in shape, Aaron. You fancy a comeback? Here's the bell, eh?
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
See ya, mate.